we call ourselves Magic, and what Magic really stands for is music and good in concert. Magic's just an acronym. My name's Vidur Sanghi. I founded Magic, and I worked with Kaden Lee and Dia Iyer on this presentation. You saw Dia um, singing. She's the one who sang for the music video, and I was on the saxophone. Kaden also plays the saxophone. And yeah, we're just super excited to be here. We're a nonprofit organization based out of California. And before, I dive into anything, just a quick overview of what we'll be discussing. First, I want to introduce my other two teammates. Then I'll give you a little bit of history about Magic. I'll tell you about our next event, a little bit about what we want to do even past our next event and in the future, and how we need your help and how you can really help us, um, enlarge our impact. So starting off with meeting the team, who are we? So like I mentioned, my name's Vidur. I founded Magic. I love playing the saxophone, and I'm a rising senior in high school. Another one of our members, his name is Caden Lee. He just graduated Saratoga High School, and he's going to be a freshman at Northwestern University. He works along with other performers, trying to organize performances and get them ready. He's our content director at our Magic Club at Saratoga High School, and he, like myself, plays the saxophone. And finally, as you heard Dia singing, she manages our funds and helps with fundraising so that we can donate the money to other nonprofit organizations or do stuff with it on our own. As you saw, she's a singer and she is a rising junior at the same high school as me and Kate. Awesome. So with that, I want to get started with a brief overview of Magic's past and what we've done. But before I do that, I want to ask you guys a question. Um, During the pandemic, what is something you guys feel like you missed out on? Just feel free to unmute or drop it in the chat if you don't want to unmute. Either's fine. Anybody? Meeting people, yeah, live entertainment. Okay, yeah, those are some pretty good answers. Connection, yeah. So actually, along the same lines, one thing I really felt like I was missing out on was interaction with other people, and music's always been a really big part of my life. So collaborating with other people on music was another really big thing I was missing out on. So that brings me to why we started. So during the pandemic, I was looking for a way to help frontline workers during COVID. And putting together musical performances dedicated to them seemed like a really fun way. And I really wanted to interact with others. So this gave me and the other performers an outlet to do that. As you saw from the music video, and as I said during our introduction, all of us love performing and making music. So that's something that again tied in really well with this. And we wanted to create a diverse environment where we could have people of all different age levels, different, from beginners to professionals, and people with different backgrounds come together and perform. So that kind of brings me to how we started, right? Now you know why. Let me tell you how. So we started with live streams on YouTube because during the pandemic we obviously couldn't meet one another, so it had to be completely virtual. And initially, it was just myself, my parents, some friends contact, other friends and family, really just their network, and checking if anyone they knew wanted to perform. And initially, we did no fundraising. It was just organizing performances dedicated to frontline workers. And since then, since we started, we've had a couple of in-person events as well, which have been really exciting. And we've established Magic as a club at my high school, which is where Dia and Kaden really play a huge role as officers at that club, helping us organize performances. So let me give you, sorry. So far, I'm really excited to say that Magic's raised about $27,000 since we started about 3 years ago. And that's something we're really proud of. And we want to continue growing because, as you've probably heard many times, every little bit counts. And yeah, we plan on continuing to fundraise. So here's a quick timeline of what Magic has done so far. So, like I mentioned, we started in 2020, early 2020, with our first YouTube post. And this post was just me simply speaking, to our audience, telling them about my mission with magic and how my goal was really quite simple, which was to entertain other people and also dedicate the performing frontline workers. Then on October 10th in 2020, we had our first ever fundraiser with the Magi contest. And this was really fun because what we did was, this is still during the pandemic, and what we did was we had about 80 or 90 performers at the time, and we created six different teams. And we had them compete in a friendly competition over 3 weeks. So each weekend, two teams would perform, and it was a really, really fun way to raise money and collaborate with one another, and create entertaining content. Then on May 16th, 2021, we did Magic's first international fundraiser with Magic for India, and then on December 17th, 2021, we started a 3-day festival. So the first couple days were purely online, and then the third day we had a live stream. We all the performers gathered in live stream, so that was also a really fun event. Uh, all right, and then in July 18th, 2022, last summer, we actually had our first ever in-person concert. And what was really cool about this concert was that it was in a completely different country. It was in Dresden, Germany, in Europe, in a different continent, really, in Europe. And this was really fun because we got to busk in Dresden and raise some money for people suffering as a result of the conflict between Ukraine and Russia. And then finally, we had our most recent concert on Jan 14th, 2023, at our high school, Saratoga High School. And the goal of the concert was to raise money for underprivileged special education students. So hopefully that gives you a good idea of what Magic's done in the past. And I think it'll help you understand what we're planning on doing with our next event on August 27th. So we call the event the Magic of Diversity. And the purpose is really quite simple. We want to bring the Bay Area community together, raise money for underprivileged special education students, and create a friendly competition for students and adults to express themselves. Again, I really want to note that the point of this concert is not only to raise money for underprivileged special education students, but also to really have a fun, diverse performance. So, for example, what we're trying to do is get dancers, like K-pop groups, or we're trying to have classical music or pop music or jazz music. So we're really trying to mix everything together and have performers at all different levels. So we have beginners and professionals, and that really creates a non-judgmental environment, which our audience really likes, but more so our performers really like because they can feel free to express themselves. Now, in terms of the details, like I mentioned, it's going to be a friendly competition on August 27th from 3 to 6 p.m. PST at the McAfee Center at Saratoga High School. And our goal is to raise about $30,000. And we want to fill out the entire auditorium with about 500 people. So let's go on to our plan. So I'm actually really excited about this concert because we have a comedian from New York named Daniel Ninen who will be flying out to California for the event to MC it and also add some fun comedy in the middle to break up each of our three segments. So we have three different categories we're planning on breaking the concert into. The first will be instrumental, the next will be vocal, and finally visual. We want to give each category about 45 minutes. And again, it's going to be a nice, friendly competition within each category. And like I emphasized earlier, we want performances in different styles, languages, different ages, skill levels, and backgrounds. In addition to that, one of our plans is to get donations for a large buffet of food for the performers and the audience. We've done this in the past. We actually did it in January, and it just made the entire event a lot more lively. And since the event is, gonna end up being about 3 hours long, it'll serve as a nice break from the performances because they can become quite intense. And another goal of ours is to raise about $2,000 prior to the concert to fund lessons for special ed students, such that we can have lessons with them prior to the concert because we want to dedicate a segment to them. And I'll get into more detail about this in a little bit because it's something that's really important to me and one of our biggest goals for this concert. Continuing on our plan, um, just some details about the competition itself. We plan on having audience members to vote on their favorite categories. And I'd like to welcome all of you to join in and watch on August 27th, even if you're not in California, because we'll be live streaming the concert. And you can check out more details on our website, musicandgoodinconcert.org. Here's a little flyer that we created to promote the event as well. So, oh, and last thing, this is our initial pitch. If you want to scan the QR code, this is what we submitted um, as our initial pitch when we applied for this presentation. And it has a lot more details regarding not just our planned concert, but it also has a lot of research regarding how music helps children that feel isolated kind of feel like they're part of the community a little more, and how it kind of helps them feel included in their environment. Cool. So now that I've told you about the near future, right, our next plan, our next goal with the magic of diversity, let me tell you a little bit more about our future and what we want to do further down the line, maybe even into next year or even further down. So, number one, we want to expand Magic to have chapters at other high schools. So, for example, right now it's just at Saratoga High, but it would be really cool if nearby schools also had Magic clubs, because then it could be easier for us to collaborate with one another, and then we'd have a performer base, where I could reach out to nearby schools and request if they wanted to perform. In addition to that, we want to try promoting social change through music. So, one thing that my band at school actually does is each year we'll choose one piece of music dedicated to something that's going on around the world. For example, last year we chose a piece that was dedicated um, to the war going on in Ukraine. And I think that's really powerful because some of these composers, or really all composers, try telling a story with their music. And that's something we really want to promote. In addition, we want to encourage more young children to get involved with music. And we plan on extending Magic to corporations because we think it'd be really cool if big companies would come together and also perform. Uh, and finally, I want to go on to how you can help us and how we try encouraging our audience, or in this case you guys, um, to help really make our impact bigger, because the more we're able to do, the more people we're able to help, which is really the entire goal of Magic. So, what do we need? So, we need your help in raising about $2,000 before the event to hire special education teachers to help special education students. So, we want to fund about 30 hours worth of instructional hours, before the performance, such that the performance can go really smoothly and we can dedicate a part of the performance to special education students. And if you want more details regarding how we came up with that number or why we think it's really important, again, feel free to scan the QR code in the bottom right corner, and you'll get the entire paper we submitted initially with lots of research. Then we need your help in sharing details regarding our performance with all your friends and family and your entire network. Because, like I said, the more amount of people that end up viewing the concert or end up donating, that'll just lead to even more us being able to deliver an even bigger impact. And then finally, if you want to perform or you know anyone who's willing to perform, feel free to email us at musicandgoodinconcert@gmail.com. And really, if there's any way you want to help out, and we'd really appreciate that. So, with that, thank you guys so much. My apologies for the beginning. I know you guys couldn't really see the music video, but um, like the organizers mentioned, they'll be sharing it later, so you can always take a look then. Yeah, feel free to scan the QR code to go to our website, our social media pages, and let me know if you have any questions right now. I'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Vidur. Is Liz there? No.
Yes, I am. I just.
Oh, sure. Go ahead.
My
Thank
apologies.
you.
Thank you, Paramita. Thank you so much, Vidur. Sincere apologies to the lagging and the drama with the PowerPoint, and not so much the PowerPoint. It was the videos. Your ideas of music being a medium that can create a bond and be able to be a really good force or way to be inclusive and accept diversity, and that can also induce social change, and the fact that you can, as a group, help people, students, particularly underprivileged students, is admirable. And the way that you've managed to navigate and get your school to become on board with that, and other people, business people, is also highly admirable. I congratulate you, and I think it's exactly what I said when I introduced you to start, is that this is actual examples. You're an exemplar, you're a model of how we can use empathy to make change, and it's fantastic. Thank you.